Good afternoon, students. This is Mr. Gee again with another video to help you learn some of the concepts that we've been covering in algebra. We know that we took a quiz last week, and I'm trying to help students get ready for the retake on Monday. And what we've been studying is solving linear systems by using substitution and elimination. So let's go ahead and read the directions. Oh, by the way, the quiz, 6.4a quiz, I'll make sure that gets online. And if you want to go to my website, download that quiz, you can follow along on problems 1, 3, and 5 that we'll be doing through this video. So directions: solve each of the linear systems by using the required method. If your solution statement is 0 equals 0, your equations are identical and write infinite solutions. I think we understand by now that if we have identical equations, when we graph those equations, the lines are identical lines, and so we'll have infinite solutions. Those lines touch each other in every spot. Every point is identical for one line versus the other. Secondly, if your solution statement is 0 equals any number, your equations are parallel and write no solutions. We know that 0 equals any number. It doesn't matter what that number is, that it's a false statement. If we have a false statement, that means we have parallel lines, and so they never cross, so there won't be a solution. So make sure that you show all your work. Alright, here we have number 1, and the directions say that we're supposed to solve this by using substitution. So we need to write both our equations in slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. So let's make sure that we do that first. So let's go ahead, and if you want to just follow along, that's great. And most everyone, when you do these problems, you make a mistake. That should be 8x. When you put it in slope-intercept form, and if you don't do that correctly, there's no way that you can get the rest of this right. So that positive 8x, so I subtract 8x from each side. So now I have 3y equals a negative 8x plus 86. And now I want to divide everything by 3. So this first equation is y equals a negative 8 over 3x plus 86 over 3. Okay. Now let's go ahead and do our second equation, and that is 2x plus 12y equals 7x plus 85. So let's not take any shortcuts when you take your quiz. Let's rewrite these equations out, and let's do every step so you make sure that you get your signs right. So 2x minus 2x is 0x. 7x minus 2x is a positive 5x. So now I have 12y equals 5x plus 85. I'm going to divide everything by 12 to get y by itself, and so my second equation is y equals 5 over 12x plus 85 over 12. So those are our two linear equations that we want to use substitution with. And now we know that from using substitution, we want to set both right-hand sides equal to each other. So I'm going to go a negative 8 over 3x plus 86 over 3 equals 5 over 12x plus 85 over 12. So our common denominator is going to be 12. So that means I'm going to write this down again, and everything on the left-hand side over here is going to be multiplied by 4 over 4. So negative 8 over 3x, I want to multiply it by 4 over 4, so I'll get a common denominator. And then I have 86 over 3. That also needs to be multiplied by 4 over 4. And then the right hand side just stays the same, doesn't it? I don't have to do anything to it. So 5x over 12 plus 85 over 12. Now a lot of this stuff up here is, you know, some of this right here you may want to just do on scratch paper first before you would actually do it on your quiz. Now the quiz is not going to be exactly the same thing, but it will be similar in the type of problem. So just learn the steps, learn the procedures, and then apply them to a different problem. Okay, so we know all our denominators. 3 times 4 is 12, 3 times 4 is 12. We have 12 over here. So we know our denominator is going to drop. So 4 times a negative 8 is a negative 32x. Plus, this is 4 times 86. Let's go over here and do that real quick. So 4 times 80 is 320. And then 4 times 6 is 24. So that would be 344 equals 5x plus 85. Okay, now we want to get our x's on one side, our numbers on the other, so let's subtract 5x from here. That will give us a 0. Subtract 5x from here. That will give us a negative 37x. Let's subtract 344 from each side. That one gives us 0. So that will give me 259. And now if I take a negative 37x, that should be a negative, equals a negative 259. I divide a negative 37 to each side. That tells me that x is going to equal a positive 7. So that's my answer for x. And now when you're using substitution to find the y value using substitution, take the x that you found and we're going to plug it in for this x right here, and then that'll help us find the y. So let's go ahead and make us a little spot here to do our work. So I'm going to have 8 times 7 plus 3 times y equals 86. 8 times 7 is 56, plus 3y equals 86. So we're going to subtract 56 from each side. So then I get 3y equals, looks like it's 30, so y equals 10. So that is the solution for y. So my solution for solving 1 by substitution, the solution is my x is 7 and my y is a positive 10. Okay, so there we go. Now if you want to check this, you'll go ahead and put 7 in for this x, put 10 in for here, and then when you do the arithmetic, I should end up getting 86. Okay, let's move on to problem number 3. Okay, problem number 3, we're asked to solve this by elimination. So that means I want to get both equations in standard form. So that it's ax plus by equals c. So let's take this first equation. I'm going to go ahead and rewrite it here. It should be a negative 8x, or negative 8y, equals 2x plus 25. A lot of you made this mistake on the quiz. Instead of subtracting 2x from each side, you added 2x, and then it gave you something really weird, right? So this should be a negative 3x minus 8y equals 25. And because some of you added 2x to each side, you got this as a positive 1x, and that's why you missed the problem. Now let's come over here and do this side. We're going to, looks like we want to add 8y to each side here. So this equation here will be 9x plus 24y. Some of you had 8y. You subtracted this, did the same thing that you had there. You don't want to do that. Equals 70. So now these are our two equations. Okay, so I know down here I want this top one to be a negative 9x and this to be a positive 9x. I want them to be the same value as far as the size of the digit, but I want them to be opposites of the sign. So once you've got that set, you go back up here to your problems here and just decide what I need to multiply a negative 3 by to get a negative 9. Well, that's going to be 3. And then what do I multiply 9 by to get a 9 back? Well, that's going to be 1. So 3 times negative 3 is a negative 9. 3 times a negative 8 is a negative 24. Y. And 3 times 25 will give me 75. Now I've got 1 times 9x is 9x, and 1 times 24 is a positive 24y. And then 1 times 70 is 70. Now let's go ahead and add these two equations together, and let's see what we get. So that gives me 0x plus 0y equals 145. So 0 equals 145. And from the directions that we read at the beginning, if I have 0 equals any number, that means I have parallel lines and I have no solution. So that's the correct answer for number 3. Okay, let's move on to question number 5. Let me pause the video and then I'll go ahead and set up for number 5. Now on number 5 and 6, there's 6 showed over here on your worksheet. We're not going to do number 6 on this video. But anyway, it said solve by substitution or elimination. If you look at this equation right here, you can see that it's already in slope intercept form, and I really don't have to do anything to it. And this one I have to rewrite. So probably this would be easiest to do substitution with. So I'm going to rewrite this one in slope intercept form. So I'm going to add 2x to each side. So that gives me a negative 9y equals 2x minus 60. Then I'm going to divide everything by negative 9. Now this is one area where most everybody missed this, is that when you divided through by the 9 in front of the y, you divided through by a positive 9 and not a negative 9, so you missed all the signs on this. So now this final equation is y equals a negative 2 over 9x plus 60 over 9. And I'm just going to leave the denominators there. Let's not try to do anything too fancy. Now I've got this for the right hand side, this for the right hand side. So let's set the right hand sides equal to each other. So 4 over 8x plus 88 over 8 equals a negative 2 over 9x plus 60 over 9. Okay, so our common denominator is going to be 72, right? So this has to be multiplied by 9 over 9, this by 9 over 9. These over here have to be multiplied by 8 over 8, 8 over 8. Then once my denominator is all 72, I can go ahead and cancel things out. So I've got 4 over 8x plus 88 over 8, and I want to multiply both those by 9 over 9. That's a form of 1, so I don't change anything. Okay, and now that equals a negative 2 over 9x plus 60 over 9, and in that one I want to multiply by 8 over 8 instead of 9 over 9. So 9 times 4, that will give me 36x plus 9 times 8 is 72, 720, and then plus 72, that would be 792 equals a negative 16x plus 480. So there we go. Now we've got an equation that just has the x variable in it. So now I can solve this. So I'm going to change this to blue. I'm going to add 16x to each side. So that becomes 52x. Some of you didn't do this math right here and you got 20x. Now I want to subtract 792 from each side. That goes to be 0. That goes to be 0. So that will give me negative 312. So now to find my x, I've got 52x equals a negative 312. So that says I divide 52 into each side, and that's going to give me a negative 6. So x equals a negative 6. And now we're going to go ahead and find our y. Now it looks like this equation up here will be the easiest way to find our y. So I'm going to take a negative 6 and put it in here. So I have y. Yeah, give me a place to work here. So I have y is going to equal 4 over 8 times a negative 6 plus 88 over 8. So let's just step this through really slow. So 4 times a negative 6 is a negative 24. A negative 24 divided by 8 is a negative 3. Now 88 divided by 8 is an 11. Now negative 3 plus 11 gives me 8. Okay, so the solution for the y is y equals a positive 8. Okay, that's the conclusion of this video. I hope this helps you out to understand a little bit what you're doing wrong. And most of the time, 80% of the time, if students will just get your beginning equations correct, get the signs correct, the rest of it turns out to be okay for you. So if you have any questions, please send me an email or post a comment on my YouTube page, and I'll be glad to address your comment and help you out in any way that I can. Thanks for tuning in, and have a great afternoon.